So yesterday I VOD reviewed a couple of the EG against Cloud9 playoff games, games 2 and 3 on stream. So I'm going to continue with that today and do an entire series this time, EG against 100 Thieves, which is the series that came before the Cloud9 one. For those who weren't watching yesterday, kind of the the basic takeaways from Huni's play in the 3-0 loss to Cloud9 was everyone else on his team was not very good. Svenskeren did some decent things. Bang was kind of okay, but not great. Golden Glue had some good moments, but mostly wasn't very good. Zazel had a pretty rough series. The team as a whole didn't seem to really know what they wanted to do and what their game plan was. They had, apparent team shot calls that then weren't followed up on properly. But within all of that, Huni more or less did his job most of the time. Game 3, he had some pretty egregious deaths where he was like greeting for ward clears and stuff. But other than that, he was fine. He had, every bad play he had, there was basically a good play at another point in the game, usually earlier in the game. So he was fine. He was not the problem. It wasn't like he was doing some kind of like superhero performance that his team, undercut him on. But he was the best player on the team. For what it's worth, give him a B plus. So we're going to go into this series where they actually won, and we're going to see how that went. So I've got the draft of game 1 up, and we're going to take a look. I'm going to make sure that's muted. There we go. So they've left. They've given Huni counter pick because 100 Thieves went with the Renekton on the 3rd pick of red side. And for what it's worth, I mentioned this in the stream yesterday. Also, I want to really focus close on these games, so feel free to talk in chat about whatever topics you want to talk about. If you're asking questions that aren't related to Huni or these games, I'm just going to kind of let that go by and kind of focus on this. But the question from Dex about Huni, whether or not Huni is an upgrade over Broken Blade, which I did say on Twitter that I think Huni is better than Broken Blade. I think watching these games is part of what helps to kind of evaluate that. I think if you evaluate Huni's performance over the whole of 2020, then you're not going to feel that way, right? Like his 2020 as a whole, he didn't perform well. I think there's a lot of mitigating circumstances to how he played in 2020. I think the Dignitas portion of it was, a bit of a write-off. I think that whole thing was not good, and Huni definitely didn't play well there. I think his academy stuff, talked about this a little bit yesterday as well, but I think the academy games you can kind of ignore based on the way academy plays and the amount of follow-up, and Huni works really well when the team is working well with him and enabling him and following up on his plays and things like that. And I think if he played the same way that he plays in LCS, but he does in academy, he's going to look really bad because the team isn't able to play around him as effectively. So I think this is why I'm reviewing the late 2020 stuff of Huni, because he also came into EG partway through the split, and they needed to acclimate and figure that out. So, I think this is the part of the season that actually represents Huni as a player the best. I think the Dignitas and the Academy stuff, they're not irrelevant or meaningless, but I think they're not that important to how he played to his actual level going forward. So the late 2020 Evil Geniuses stuff, I think, actually means a lot more because I think that's where he was probably trying the hardest, and it's where he had the environment that was most conducive to him succeeding. I think differences between him and Broken Blade, I think they both like to play with resources. I think Huni got far worse help from Svenskeren than Broken Blade got from Spica. And, that's a pretty simplistic way to look at it, but I think it's a big part of it. And yeah, I think Huni is better at knowing how to play the map and how to move around, when to make plays in different areas, how to manage his waves, things like that. So that's my opinion on it. So in this game, but I am continuing to watch these things to refine those opinions, right? So in this game, he's Ornn. He picked Ornn into the Renekton. This is a big ol' 5v5 comp right here. Ornn, Orianna, you got Graves and Zydecar, you got Engage from the Ornn and the Rakan. Massive 5v5 comp. And you're up against Renekton Nidalee. You're up against Twisted Fate. You Ash Tom Kench. So like very different stylistic comps. 100 Thieves want to smash through top and mid with Prio. They want to snowball the game through Nidalee. They want to be all over the map with Twisted Fate ult and Tom Kench ult, using Ash ult as well. So 100 Thieves want to play this game really fast. High pace, high action, get picks, go all over the map. And EG want to just like deny those plays enough, set up on objectives, go for team fights. So if they can like if they can make any of the 100 Thieves like tower dive plays fail or anything like that, then that's really good for EG. So Huni's job within this, his bot lane is probably going to have Prio, and we can see that they do. So Svenskeren pathed top to bot to path towards the lane priority. Contract is doing the opposite of that. Again, he's pathing towards his lane priority, knowing that Renekton's going to have the shove on Ornn. And so Huni wants to make sure that this wave comes into him. He wants to try to not be diveable. Did Contract start in the enemy jungle a little bit? Tom Kench Ash is a very classic duo, and I think it fits stylistically with the Twisted Fate as well. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, how is this full top side up? So he started in the enemy jungle here. Very interesting. And Svenskeren started on Gromp into blue? No, blue into Gromp, sorry. That went too far back. I'm not going to go back and revisit the draft too much. I'm more concerned about what actually happens in the game here. So Contract started on enemy red. Fascinating. They must have had info on this. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back to see whether 100 Thieves knew what was going on in the jungle here. It's not the most consequential thing, but... Alright, and I guess they just kind of made that call. They just inferred that Svenskeren's going to want to path top to bot. So Contracts takes away his red and his raptors. That's a pretty big lead. Because now from here, he gets to full clear his bot side. Now Svenskeren's on the bot crab. Contract is already up like 2 camps. Camp and a half. So again, Huni's doing, I think it would have been nice if Huni didn't have to trade quite so much health, but I think that's hard against Renekton. He's kind of low in lane now, which, he might be diveable. It is hard to dive Ornn in general, even if his health is a little low. He can outplay with the knock up on the tower and things like that. He can possibly outplay the stun. But Svenskeren doesn't have anything better to do than come back topside and cover him, so... The net effect of all this is that Contracts has a huge lead over Svenskeren already, and Huni is just doing kind of whatever. He's just doing his own thing. Svenskeren couldn't afford to go and try to cover this bot side and look for any kind of invade or anything like that. He just got the crab and then is hanging around waiting for Gromp to respawn. What is up from here? This seems like, unless 100 Thieves make a play, there's probably not going to be a whole lot going on in this laning phase. As long as Huni just kind of stays safe, CS is enough. So EG are the ones who are more interested. Like, 100 Thieves will go for Dragon if they can, because it's just part of them leading the game, but they're not really concerned with spending their tempo on a Dragon. They much rather spend their tempo on a Herald and play through the top side of the map. So, like, I think 100 Thieves are more concerned about just making sure they're keeping their pace up on, like, their farming efficiency and general map control and not giving EG, like, a free Dragon. They can go for this Dragon. It's fine. Like, if you can get both Dragon and Herald, why not? And I think they've got... Yeah, they've got a big window of mid priority here to do it with. So right here... so we're at 5:15. Ryoma shoves in on Golden Glue. Golden Glue goes for a reset. I can't tell what the... So there are new waves arriving right now. Okay, Ryoma is already like pre-hitting this wave because he wants to set up for this dragon off this wave, I guess. Huni is just TP'd back to lane, which I guess means... That's a little interesting. So Huni here recalls because he's at half health and low mana. And I think EG probably aren't super excited about trying to fight right here. I mean, especially with the lack of control in mid lane. So that would be the call for why Huni goes top. He also doesn't have, like, he's not level 6 yet, so if he TPs for a fight, like, yeah, he doesn't really have much to offer. But, like, I think he could have maybe held his TP and figured out whether somebody is TPing or not. And then if somebody did TP, then you match it, and then now you've got the 4v4 bot instead of the 5v5. This is a little interesting. Just to shove that one wave. Now you know you've got enough time to pull off another recall. Huh. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the ideal use of Huni's TP was there, but EG, like, the dragon isn't super important to 100 Thieves, so I think EG can feel okay giving it up that way, but it is kind of important to EG. Like, it's not necessary to them, but it's very helpful for them. I think it is okay as a general call for EG to give up that dragon. So I don't really have a problem with Huni TPing there. And if he didn't, I don't know. I kind of lean towards him holding on to it being the better call, but I don't think it's a super clear one way or another. I don't think, like, they didn't need it to contest that dragon because they didn't need to fight for the dragon. They're okay with giving it up. But I think there might have been some optimization possible if he held it. At least to see whether or not somebody uses it. So there's a blue handoff going on between Svenskeren and Golden Glue. So somebody should be looking for prio again here. Okay. No, the bot camps are spawning for contracts. So it's actually a little risky for somebody to overpush here. But he's got a control ward in his bush. It'll be like another wave or two, maybe 2 waves before contracts comes top again, and they can look for Herald control and or a dive. Let's see. So they did their own blue handoff. Now contracts is going to start heading towards top side. I'm not sure. So yeah, so blue team is pinging the Herald. Like they don't know whether contracts is like on Wolves and on his way there, if he's there already. They know that someday is, you know, getting his wave pushing fairly quickly here, or fairly, like, he's timing a push out here, so they know Herald is a possibility. Someday may have had info on Graves and known. Plus, I don't think, like, Ornn Graves is going to have a hard time killing the Renekton here. I think, like, best thing they could do is get his flash. So someday probably feels fairly safe to have that previous wave pushed in. And now he's getting it crashing, and I think that's a cannon. Is that a cannon wave? No, so this is the cannon wave. So right here, he's crashing a 2 waves with a cannon, which is timed very well for contracts to pick up the Herald off of that. And there's nothing for Huni to be doing here. And it's not a huge deal. Like, I think EG can kind of expect they're going to lose this Herald. I definitely don't think EG need to be aggro in the early game here at all. And I think 100 Thieves are getting the neutral objectives they wanted to get. I think they might have been able to look for a tower dive, but they played for the farm on Nidalee with the bot side invade instead. And I think that's also very valuable because look how far ahead Contracts is, and now they're getting the dive. And the TF ult comes in. Huni gets a knock up. I don't think he was going to be able to outplay that one. So the question is, could he have preserved more of his health bar going into this? So right here, he's taking a big trade. He drops down to like 40%. So Someday, like, even if Someday got chunked a bunch there, he's fine with that because he's just trying to get Huni low. He doesn't care if he's low himself. But he isn't even low. So Someday prepped this really well. Huni got the knock up and then was gold carded, and Renekton, like, there's nothing Huni could do there. Like, maybe he can flash when the gold card is first coming in. Let's see what order the CC came. So, like, if Sven is there, on time, they can outplay this. He's on Gromp, and now he's okay. I think there should be a pretty good sense right here that there's a potential dive incoming. And if you're Svenskeren, you can take right there. He kills the Gromp, and now he starts walking down to Wolves. I think he can feel pretty okay at least checking this bush and seeing is Nidalee coming or not, because this is the perfect time. Like, this is exactly when it's coming in. If you take those 2 seconds to check that bush and see is the dive coming, yes or no, you're hardly hurting your efficiency, but now he's too late to help the dive. Okay, so the Renekton stun came first, then the gold card. So maybe Huni could have flashed away from the Renekton stun, but he got flashed on. Someday flashed onto him to hit it. So, like, right there. So I'm pretty sure what Huni was hoping to do was get that knock up on the tower and then flash down and then drop his ult. That's what he's looking for. But he just got burst too quickly. And Svenskeren was like 2-3 seconds late because he started walking down to Wolves. So there were ways that EG could have outplayed that, and I think they had their overall map set up the way they wanted to, with Svenskeren in the right area, and Huni had his tools available. I put that more on Svenskeren than I do on Huni personally, with his failure to kind of read what was going on. I do think Huni could have mechanically done a little better, but I think he had the right idea. He had a good idea, at least. If he does flash down right here and then go for the knock up on the tower, I don't know, maybe that goes a little differently. But yeah, I think the way he tried to play it was going to be the best way. And now Huni did preserve his flash for next time. But I don't think he intended to preserve his flash. That's just how it kind of worked out. Anyways, Huni's TP is almost back, not quite in time for Dragon. Some days TP hasn't been used at all, so that TP advantage here didn't really mean anything anyways, because 100 Thieves wanted to play through him. They didn't want to play through the other side and use some days TP. So what just happened here? Okay, Golden Glue made Random a flash somewhere in there. Doesn't matter, really. So Huni's TP will be up in time to contest this dragon. I think EG can also give up this one if they want to. I think this one is a little more important to fight for than the first one. But it's still not, if they can't get the right setup, it's not entirely necessary. So Huni's backing off here. There comes the TP. It's a little bit of an odd placement, maybe? No, it's not bad. He gets Contracts out of the fight. And of course, killing the jungler means you can get Dragon a lot easier. So Someday and Huni both did what they wanted to do compositionally here. Someday is getting very fed himself. And Huni kind of knew what he was trading off in order to get this team fight win on the dragon. This is okay, and they're getting stuff on the bottom tower too. So this is a win for EG because of all the kill gold. But Someday does almost have the first tower now. So I'd say that was a pretty good play by Huni. You would have hoped that he could have had the lane in a slightly safer state to not lose this first tower completely, but losing this first tower came more from the dive than it did from this TP play. If you lose 2 or even 3 tower plates, but not the tower itself off of this TP, then I think you're pretty okay with it. But the fact that you lost the whole tower is because it was almost gone already. So they'd only taken 1 plate before, but anyways. All right. Bot tower is also almost gone for EG. So Huni's got nothing right now. He shoves out top while Someday is resetting. He walks into the river just to like deny info from 100 Thieves. Now he's helping cover Golden Glue, clearing a ward. Like the next thing, their EG are probably playing again for the next dragon. So they just want to like avoid any tempo plays from 100 Thieves for the next few minutes. So that means denying any forward vision or river control, because those are the things the setups 100 Thieves need to make their next play. So you're not looking to put pressure on towers yourself. This is just okay, nice kill. So like Huni having that wave pushed out and then walking to river is just he wants to make sure that they're not going to make a play on him, and that they're not that 100 Thieves aren't super confident making a play mid, because what if Huni had walked all the way down, stuff like that. So Huni's just catching this wave, making sure he doesn't get killed. So like already at this point in the game, even with that top tower that 100 Thieves took, their 100 Thieves are not hitting their win conditions. They wanted to play this game way faster, and the gold is even. So EG are winning this game pretty convincingly, and that's off of the bot side fight. I think 100 Thieves probably should have not played for that bot side invade. They should have played for an earlier dive setup with a more standard contracts path, and then diving on an earlier wave. I think that would have fit their win conditions more, because I think invading denies some scaling time off the graves. What's going on here? Invading gives more farm to the Nidalee and less farm to the graves, but your win condition is not a heavily farmed up Nidalee. Your win condition is, tower diving, basically, using TF ults, tower diving with the Renekton and Nidalee, and that has a lot more to do with the tempo you're playing on, not the amount of farm you have. So in this situation, Huni is deploying to the mid lane out of his reset. He's got Sunfire Cape now. He's got a Catalyst. Zeyzal and Bang have gone mid with their bot shove. Huni just walks mid, ults, forces the stopwatch, which means Poom is caught. And you pick off the Tom Kench, who's always a good target for stuff like this. That's a nice play. You wouldn't have expected Huni to go mid there. And him walking mid and using that ult just creates another kill, which the kill itself, like the gold off that kill, is not a huge deal. And it's not like they had any objectives to gain map control off of with that kill. But the fact that they get that kill means now 100 Thieves aren't able to prep the map for a play they wanted to get. So it just denies like a couple minutes of 100 Thieves, having any chance to make another tempo play of their own and start to achieve their own win conditions again. So that's like that. In a weird way, that's an important defensive play by Huni. And I'm going to make a note on my other screen here about that play, because if I'm thinking about doing a video like summarizing all the stuff that I've been watching here. Okay, hold on. Just pausing while I make a note of that one. That was around 16 minutes-ish. All right. So now here, EG have mid and bot shoving. Huni is catching in top. 100 Thieves make their next big play. Now they have Poom back, but they don't get anything off it. Like, they don't have a great map set up for that one. But so they try. They don't get anything. Dragon is coming here, so Huni got top wave. He kind of fixed it to a neutral state, which is fine. And now walked mid so that they can... and they also have bot shoved already, so now they just make sure they've got prio in the mid wave. And now they can walk as 5 to this dragon setup. And at this point of the game, like, the game is over here, as long as they can just keep doing this. There's absolutely no way for 100 Thieves to contest this 5v5. And EG can just keep doing this every 5 minutes until the game is over. So, yeah, it's a very easy little recipe. Yeah. So we'll probably speed through this one a bit. See if anything else significant happens. But you know, I think Huni could have weak-sided this a little better. I think Svenskeren could have covered him better, and that one tower dive they got off on Huni, I think Huni kind of did more or less what he was supposed to do there. I think Someday prepped it well. Contracts and Ryomi executed it well, and EG just didn't quite defend it properly. But yeah, that's kind of how that played out. Tom Kench was the 4th pick for red team. All right, Huni dies again here. Doesn't really matter at this point. Like, there's nothing to be fighting for here. So they've got Golden Glue taking... Hold on, what? Okay, so they're kind of 1-3-1-ing EGR, which I don't like. I think they should be doing a 4-1. They should just be farming until the next dragon. But they have Golden Glue without teleport. Pushing all the way to top tower. They've got enough vision. I think that's a blue ward here. I think. He should be not even walking up to tower here. He should be walking mid to defend any potential plays. And just making sure he himself doesn't get picked off. Because, like, I think 100 Thieves' better play there would be to go after... They don't have a mid tower to defend. So they've got a little window to go after a pick play on top with the Tom Kench ult, Ash TF. But, I mean, whatever. And now, hold on. But after that play doesn't work, 100 Thieves still know Golden Glue is top. I'm sure they have the timer on his TP. They know they can make a play here. So Someday walks into river, goes after Huni, contracts, helps out. Now Poom uses the TK ult. Huni dies, Golden Glue gets the top tower. I mean, that's really a nothing play. 100 Thieves will be happy to have a little bit of gold, but EG don't care about that death. As long as Huni doesn't waste his teleporter flash, which he doesn't. Okay, there's going to be a tower off this with the Herald. That does mean something. But even with that, this tower was gone anyways, so this play still means almost nothing. I think Huni can play weak side fine. I don't think it's his preferred way to play. But, like, this game was a weak side game for Huni. He spent most of the time catching waves at his tower in a team comp where Renekton Italy TF, we're going to be coming after him. And I don't think he did anything wrong, really. Okay, random pick on the Tahm Kench. Huni TPs and ults. I don't like that. Okay, hold on. So now EG are doing the thing that I wanted before, which was with Golden Glue, which is a little easier now that the top tower is dead. So Golden Glue shoves out the top tower, or the top wave, joins in with the mid lane group, so now they're into a 4-1 setup. I think they should still be buying time until the next dragon. They don't need to force anything here, but they do have tools that they can force with Zeyzal if they want to. But I think this was, you always know TF can collapse on you, right? From the side lanes. You know Renekton has his TP. And are they set up well to follow up this engage? Bang is a little bit lagging on it. Not a huge deal. Okay, but Bang clearly thinks he's not going to. Bang should have walked around here already instead of going back to the wave. They get the Tahm Kench. Now Huni, why does Huni TP? So right here. So it's going to be a 5v4 against you if he doesn't TP. So he has to, actually. Like, the mistake here was Zeyzal engaging. What are you engaging for? Baron? You don't need Baron yet. You don't need Baron at all, really. Unless they, like, you use Baron as a pressure point while you're buying time in between dragons with this comp. You've got a massive outscale and a little bit of a lead. You're ahead in dragons. There's really no need to go for a fight here. Like, if you win a fight here and get the Baron, great, you've won the game, but you're winning the game anyways. If you lose the fight here, you've given them a chance to come back. But anyways, Huni TPs and ults, it doesn't achieve anything, but it didn't really need to. So I think Huni had to TP because his team engaged there, but I think engaging was a bad idea. So 100 Thieves are continuing to try to use their TF and TK alts, look for picks if they can, but there's nothing like... 100 Thieves are just kind of losing the game. At least they're not losing it completely passively and just not pressing their Rs at all, but they're pressing their R buttons, but there's nothing that they can achieve with them. So now EG are in their setup. You know, I think even if Huni had his TP up, they might 5-man their dragon setups anyways, because they know as long as they group up as 5, as long as the side waves aren't hitting their towers already when they group up as 5, like, get those waves neutral to river, group up as 5 for the dragon, get the free dragon, and then do another 5 minutes, so... yeah. Now, if you want to, if you're EG and you're antsy, you can set up, you can like do the same kind of thing and set up 5 on Baron, but there's no need. Don't throw at Baron. That's the main thing. Just don't throw at Baron. More time is going to play out here. I'm just going to jump through it a little more because there's not much point watching the time in between dragons unless something silly happens. You don't feel too bad about this tower if you're EG. Like, you know that you're going to get 1-3-1 on a little bit, and you're going to lose a tower here or there. As long as you don't lose an inhib or something crazy like that, just go into this next dragon and get the Ocean Soul. And you're probably trading their push onto a tower for your own push on the tower on the other side. So just generally maintain clean map control. You've got your Ornn items online. Okay, minute 45 to the next dragon here. Do. Waiting it out. Huni's hanging out with his team. As long as you're grouped up, they can't do anything to you because they rely on you being isolated and getting a pick on an isolated target. So they wander up to cover Golden Glue while he's pushing. Now Huni has to go catch the bot wave. He's got TP, so that's fine. Oh, what's going on here? So I'm thinking 100 Thieves are probably forcing something here. So there's a little window while Golden Glue and Zeyzal haven't regrouped yet. Bang had to flash and ult out of looks like an Ashe ult. So Cody-san, Ashe ults, Bang in mid lane. Looks like he ults and then flashes out so that Ryoma can't land a gold card on him. Huni TPs to defend that. Okay, great. We didn't get blown up. We only lost Xayah ult and flash. We lose a tower, feels a little bad, but that's not the end game here. Bang having to recall off that does matter. I wasn't sure he actually had to. I thought he could have just stayed with. Maybe did he have a big shop? Okay, he buys a QSS here. So Bang is at half health and is positioned a little awkwardly, but I think they could just walk down river together. I don't think it's going to matter. So like what EG want to avoid is being so desperate to stop somebody's push down here that they lose this dragon. But I guess they figure Bang recalling means we won't lose the inhib at least. And we can 4v4 the dragon. Although someday can TP ahead of Bang. So it's pretty... Okay, Bang has TP. I didn't notice that. I wasn't paying attention to that part. So there we go. It's fine. So Bang just TP's up. That's why he reset, because he had his TP. Now they just 5v5 on this. Oh, it got stolen. That still might not matter. Because you can either get the Ocean Soul. Like, the best case scenario is EG gets the Ocean Soul and the team fight and wins the game. Maybe you get the Baron after or literally win. I don't think you literally win off it. Worst case is you lose the dragon and the team fight. More likely you're going to get at least one of the two. You're happy getting at least one of the two, the team fight win or the dragon. Someday's got his flank coming. This is just a straight up smite fight. Maybe they could have peeled contracts off this a little better. Huni has to decide whether he's going to use his ult to try to get contracts off. Like, if contracts is far enough away from the dragon, you can ult him while he's out of smite range. Maybe you use it for that, but you can also just use the ult to actually try to win the fight. So he has a choice. Does he use this for the dragon or does he use it for the fight? But he can't use his ult to deny contracts off the dragon here, because contracts is staying in smite range the whole time. Does Zeyzal engage? Zeyzal's looking to peel the Renekton. So contracts gets the steal but dies for it. Huni's ult zones the fight so they can turn on someday. They turn on him easily. So EG get one of the two. They lose the dragon, but they get the team fight, including killing contracts, and now they get Baron. They're going to lose bot inhib off this, which is a good call from 100 Thieves. And it was good prep by Someday to be in that position. I think they don't even lose the inhib. Nicely played. Now Golden Glue TPs for the chase. All right. All right, let's just let it play out a little here. So it's been over for a while, but now it is getting more and more over. And on the other screen here, I'm just setting yesterday's VOD review to public on YouTube. It's ready now. So once this stream is over, you guys can go watch the VOD of yesterday's as well if you want to. Just going to tweet that out as well. Bunch of random fighting. EG can win with fighting. They can win with not fighting. It doesn't really matter. Do whatever they want here. They can win with standing around while super minions take the base. Whatever they want. All right. So in this game, takeaways from Huni. Maybe he had a small margin to outplay that dive, but I think he had prepped for it kind of okay. I don't think he had really an opportunity. Maybe he could have. I know the chat was discussing whether he could have ulted that wave ahead of time, but I think that was like, you only do that if you know for sure the dive is coming, and I don't think they knew for sure. They suspected, and they probably could have read that it was going to come, but they didn't know for sure. And I think you can also hold the ult as part of the outplay of the dive. So he was playing a little bit for efficiency rather than like absolute utmost defensiveness. And maybe he could have, like, maybe it would have worked better if he flashed before trying to get the knock up on the tower. But I think all of that is really nitpicking. And the real takeaway is that Svenskeren needed to face check the tri-brush to check whether the dive was coming or not, rather than starting to walk down to wolves and then being late to help. And Huni made that really good pick play on the Tahm Kench in the mid lane to stall out 100 Thieves that much more. He did his job in the team fights. I think he was actually pretty good this game. Nothing amazing, nothing, I wouldn't say he like won the game for his team or anything. But he did his job and he did it pretty well. We're going to jump into game 2. So another Renekton Nidalee from 100 Thieves. EG respond with the Shen this time. So now they're going to have some map mobility of their own. TF, and so they've got the TF as well. So this game, EG are the Shen, TF, Ashe, Tahm Kench. And 100 Thieves. Let's see. So they got the Caitlyn. There we go. Get the speed back normal. BWP Calvin, or BWPCA Elvin. The capitalization is confusing me a little. Thank you for the Prime sub. Whoa, level 1 action. Okay. So yeah, EG are running back 100 Thieves draft against them, basically, in some ways, with the Twisted Fate Ashe, Tahm Kench, but 100 Thieves are stuck with the Renekton Nidalee, so they want to play through top side. EG want to play through... It's a little less clear. If you have the TF who wants to play into a side lane, but you don't have a carry in the top lane or lane prio in the top lane, probably beyond the first few levels. I'm not entirely sure. Like, Shen can be pretty good in the first few levels, but I think someday he can use Q to clear the wave quickly and get prio there, even if he's going to lose some trades against the Shen W. I think, yeah. Zoe's going to have a little harder time unlocking. I mean, she can clear the wave and head to top, but she's not quite, not quite TF for getting in the top lane. Blitzcrank, level 1 is Blitzcrank level 1. So they're looking for something, but it's a full-on 5v5. Huni, taunt flash there. Is this the game-winning play? Here he comes. Taunt flash onto the Blitzcrank. First blood to the graves. Wow. Everybody's going to be back to lane to time and on time, I think. So they hooked in bang, but they weren't going to follow it up with anything. Unless Caitlyn starts trap, to follow up that hook, you need one of Renekton, Zoe, Caitlyn to start with a suboptimal skill to chain any CC there. And they've got Tahm Kench who can just start and deny you. So I actually think 100 Thieves going for a level 1 there was pretty ambitious. But they do have some people who are pretty strong at it. Maybe, if it wasn't a full 5v5, maybe it goes well. But But it works out well for EG. Graves getting the longsword start is kind of a big deal. I'm curious what EG's early game plan is going to be. What do they want to do with the Twisted Fate? I think they can play into either side lane fine. They can just play into enemy jungle and just back him up. That's also an option. Like, I think playing through the Graves is a pretty good opportunity here. So, Contracts is pathing bot to top where somebody has prio. That's what you'd expect. Svenskeren is pathing bot to top where his team doesn't have prio, but they're not going to have prio on either side lane, so that's going to happen one way or another. I think Svenskeren is just pathing for farm efficiency. He might not be able, like, with the longsword, he can fight for a crab. Without a longsword, maybe they couldn't. And maybe he'd just have to give up, potentially even both crabs. But that's not the end of the world. You can see he's clearing 6 camps before crab. I think longsword definitely helps with that. So Huni is fighting for this wave in case there's an opportunity to contest the crab, I think. And to make it harder for Contracts to go and contest the Krugs. So now Svenskeren is approaching that way to look for a mid gank. He doesn't even want to go for the crab here. Contract is not looking for a dive, even though Someday has been trading a lot of health, which seemed like a classic dive setup strategy. I don't know why Contract and Someday didn't go for a dive there. Maybe they had info on Graves. But like, so right around here, there's a ward. So they see Graves. There's a ward right here that Graves is sitting on. And Contract is up here. He's got full health. Someday is about to crash this next wave and gets a big trade here, I think, to get Huni low. Oh, no, okay, maybe not really. Is he fall? He's looking to counter gag mid, I guess. I still think taking a bit of a risk, especially since you started out behind at level 1, I think taking a bit of a risk and going for that top dive was the better play there to me. And Ryoma would just have to play safe and maybe lose his flash if Graves got that gank uncontested. I don't think he's going to die to the gank. But, you know, that's how it played out. I think Huni was... If Huni suspected a dive incoming, should he have done anything differently? I don't think so. I think he had kept his health bar kind of around. Like, he would have had to try to outplay at 1v2. And if he had died, I mean, then Graves invades bot side. I think there were some camps up. If he dies, you know, that's sometimes what happens. And here again, now they're going for the dive. This is a little slow in my opinion. Okay, he's pathing around the ward, so I think they probably knew that Huni put a Tri-Brush ward in. So he's going through the pit to path around the vision. That's why he's a couple seconds slow. But not too slow because the cannon's still there. Now they get a TP from Ryoma. Someday tanks the tower shots. Nice clean dive. Nothing for Huni to do there. Svenskeren, meanwhile, had pathed around to his Raptors. He doesn't know what camps are up necessarily, and he doesn't see Nidalee yet until he's already heading to his Raptors. So Huni early... Okay, so he taunts Someday here. He wants to try to get the tower firing as early as possible, of course. But Someday hasn't drawn aggro, so he taunts there to try to force tower aggro onto Someday, I guess. And then he tries to... Yeah, I don't think there was much he could have done to survive that 3-1, 3v1 dive. And he has TP to come back out. He loses. I'm assuming he lost the... Probably lost the cannon. Maybe he can hold the taunt longer. Yeah, he loses the cannon here. Maybe he could have held the taunt. But if they just... I think like maybe he could use the Shen W to outplay the Renekton taunt or Renekton stun and then go for a taunt after that. But if he uses the Shen W, then do they even take tower aggro if they're not hitting him with their auto attacks? No. Because Renekton Q, Nidalee Q, I don't think those would draw... No, those would draw tower aggro. Those wouldn't draw minion aggro, so I'm overthinking it. I don't know. I don't think there's much way for him to survive that, one way or another. Really, really theory crafting it hard, but I don't really see it. So now he has gone... Oh, Golden Glue TP'd top, and Huni TP'd mid. Because Huni hadn't respawned yet. So Huni TP's mid to cover that. Golden Glue went top. They're going to be able to swap kind of in between waves here. But, you know, I think the reason they do this is, like you just see, Golden Glue just hit 6. Now he has TF ult to play down into the mid lane if needed. Yeah, the level 1 First Blood to Graves and the longsword he got to start with has definitely given him, like, very high efficiency clearing, and he's got this massive lead over Nidalee. But, like, this is why I thought that they should have gone for that dive earlier instead of Contracts covering Svenskeren on mid and then, like, farming his own camps and stuff. Like, you were not going to catch up. What you do is you try to get the Renekton snowballing. So they should have tried that 2v1 dive, even though it was risky. It needed to be a comeback play. So now they're back in their standard lanes. At this point, you're going to look to use Shen ult. I don't know if you're going to match the Renekton TP or whatever it is, but you're looking at Dragon, I think, possibly for EG. I don't think they need Dragon. I think Herald matters. Herald kind of matters more to both teams, honestly. The question is whether you can get mid-prio or not. So Shen has ult for this if needed. Okay, Renekton's TPing, TF is ulting. Huni decides not to use Shen ult right away. There he goes. Now he's using it on a Golden Glue. They can turn back on someday. Yeah, I'd say the patience on that Shen ult worked out pretty well. So I'll let this finish out to see how it ends, and then we'll kind of rewatch the setup for that and the way it actually played out. Okay. So in the end, EG get 1 kill, but they lose map control. So going into this, so your map state here is, as EG, you have a little bit of bot prio, you don't have mid prio. Top is pretty even, but it's starting to push towards EG. So here, this is where the waves met, and Huni kind of taunted out of the bush to trade with someday. And the trade goes kind of even. I think what kind of lane state does Huni want here? I think if the health bars of both of them are low, like they know, I'm pretty sure they've seen Nidalee bot, so he knows he's not going to get dove, so he doesn't mind having a low health bar there. Plus it'd be like too soon to dive again. In general, I think. If both of them are low and then they both TP, then who does that affect more? Someday can ult and use his Q to get a lot of that health back, and I think he's still effective from lower health. I think they're both okay TPing with a little bit lower health. Is Huni trading to try to make sure the wave isn't crashing against him? Maybe. Okay, he can't really avoid Renekton trades too much here. I don't think he has much of a choice. So right here, I think Huni doesn't instantly match, partly because he wants to make sure his shield achieves something and like actually absorbs some damage. And also, I think he was hoping he'd have a few more seconds of time to CS a few more of these before coming down. But I don't think he could have done anything else to deny. Like, Someday was going to shove that no matter what Huni did. And I think his ult saved Golden Glue. I think that's who his target was. And that almost could have gone really bad for EG. We'll watch it one more time here. So Svenskeren is going on contract. The rest of them are going on Poom. Now Golden Glue goes in, gets hooked. Huni helps him live. Yeah, I think Huni played that fine. I'm trying to think of if there was another opportunity for him to do something a little better in that setup, but I don't think there really was. I think EG were a little split on their target. Like, they weren't all hitting the same target for that fight. And so that's kind of why they lost it and got such low health bars. 100 Thieves weren't able to take the dragon after that, though. So it wasn't really super consequential. So Huni is now, he's down 20 CS because of getting dove. I mean, he's weak side in general. I think you'd probably expect he could have taken a few more of these, but he's also level 7. I assume Someday's going to ding 8 first. So, like, he's been getting... It looks like he's been getting his XP. So the CS deficit isn't as big a deal as it might seem. We'll see how much of a level Someday is ahead in that. And now in his in his brief window of prio, he's helping Svenskeren invade. EG have made the classic Herald rotation, maybe 30 seconds late or so, but that's fine. So they get the Herald. Like I said, Herald is important to both teams, more important than Dragon, I would say. And once that Herald is secured, Huni resets to go and catch the bot shove. He's going to be a little late to it. Yeah, he's going to be late to it. They're going to miss this whole wave, I guess. So, like, possibly we could go back and nitpick this rotation. Yes, Travis, we are going to do that Academy and Amateur format video with Barry this week. I think we could nitpick the EG rotation here, but I don't think it's worth doing for this. So now Huni's pushing out. The next thing is, do they want this dragon? What are they going to do with the Herald? What are their options there? So right now, when Huni has this push, he just goes and sits. He walked a little. He doesn't have any vision here, and he doesn't have backup from jungle or mid, so he needs to be pretty careful walking too far into river here. And like, top is kind of the strong side-ish right now. Svenskeren starting to lean that way, but they need TF to clear this wave before they can strong side anything. So Huni just needs to be pretty careful and safe here. Oh, he's Shen ulting proactively for this play. There we go. Nice play. That's a team play, so we we can't say, oh, what a great Huni play. That was an overall team play, so. But he did his role in it. And that's the type of play that EG are supposed to be making with this comp. Now they need to get this tower with Herald and not like, the downside is they're trading towers on this, not just getting one for nothing or anything. Assuming someday it might take another wave for somebody to get that. And they're also losing Dragon on this. So overall, it's not the most efficient play by EG, but it was definitely like the team call for that play. Maybe they could have done it without. So could they have done it without Huni's ult? Maybe. Let's see here. Without that taunt, I think Poom gets out. Maybe not, though. Maybe, yeah. I think they needed Huni's ult for that play. Unless Golden Glue was able to come. Did he get his TF ult canceled? Not entirely sure what happened with Golden Glue's ult there. Maybe they could have used Golden Glue's ult instead of... But then if Huni is left here, he probably just gets... He might just get dove instead. But he can back off the tower. I think there might have been some some better efficiency possible from EG, but they would have had to greed a little bit for it, and it might have cost them in the end. So I think Huni did fine in that play. I think he did pretty much what he should have, and he followed the team call clearly, right? Which is a positive in and of itself. So they use the Herald. They get the tower first. Dragon is not really a big deal. And again, Huni being down this far doesn't really matter. That doesn't affect EG's win conditions. They want to have Graves fed. They want to have TF able to make plays and like shove the sides really well. And Huni needs to be able to just not die 1v1. He doesn't need to be able to win his 1v1. I think that's why he's building like Bomby Cinder into Sunfire rather than like building Titanic Hydra first, for example. Titanic Hydra would give him a lot better 1v1 against Someday, but I don't think he needs that. He needs to just not... Like, he needs to make it harder for them to dive him and snowball through him with the Renekton Italy, which they haven't done a great job of doing. Again, just like last game, they've only gotten off like the one dive on him, and they would have wanted to get 2 or even... I mean, 3 is a bit of a stretch, but they would have wanted to make more plays on him by now. So he's building the defensive approach to just make it harder for them to dive him. Bombies might make it a little harder to CS under tower, I guess, but again, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is don't let Renekton and Italy snowball. And he hasn't. So from here... From here, EG want to continue looking for Graves farming efficiency, continue looking for opportunities for TF, Ashe, Tahm Kench plays, and don't give up any picks. They've got control of pretty much all 3 lanes now. Okay, Huni is way down in XP now because of that last play, partly because of that last play and other things, so he's down 2 levels. But Someday hasn't even finished his first item yet. Huni is really down in CS because of because of the matchup and because of the jungle pressure on him, while his own jungler was focusing on farming rather than helping Huni out of tough lane spots. He lost a lot of CS when he got dove and killed the one time. He lost CS when he used Shen ults both reactively or for the big bot lane play and then also for this top lane play that we just watched. So every time he's using his ult, he's trading his ability to help his team, and what he's giving up is experience in CS because of Someday shoving on him so hard. So this is like an intentional choice of A, from the matchup, and B, from how the team is playing using the matchup, which is the correct way to use the matchup. So, okay, so now they're applying pressure with the fed Graves. Shen is sitting in the top lane bush saying, there's probably going to be a need for me to support this play, or at least be ready to help it, so he does. 100 Thieves try to push back because they see Tahm Kench, Ashe are hitting the tower here. They say maybe we've got a quick window to try to jump somebody for a kill. But Svenskeren gets out here. Golden Glue has walked before Ryoma. Golden Glue gets slept, but he's fine. He turns gold cards. Huni is looking to taunt over the wall, maybe, or did he use it already? I don't think he did. So Huni is just kind of linebacking here. Do people use the term linebacking in League? I don't think so. It's a term that we used in Guild Wars a lot for when your tank would stick around your healers and like basically just peel It basically means peeling. Hovering around your carriers and peeling for them. Carries. So I always use that term, but I don't. Gaming boomer. Yeah. It was different because, okay, they're going to dive on bang here. Guild Wars was a long time ago. And it was different because it was 8v8, not 5v5. So you would have 2 or 3 tanks and like 2 or sometimes 3 dedicated healers. So yeah, frontlining is different. Linebacking is actually like a tank in your own backline. So they're diving here. Shen TPs. So now this play is a bit of a nothing. You got enough time to recontrol this for Dragon. I never played Han. I did play Warcraft 3. This is... I really don't think Huni needs to die here. He wants to get back to top. And I think it's a little hard. I think... minute 20, minute 15 on Dragon. He might have his ult back in time. So I think what he's trying to do is just like walk back to top lane and be ready with his ult for the Dragon fight. But he eats the bubble there, doesn't doesn't quite dodge it in time and dies. Again, it's like he didn't need to die there, but he was trying to cheat the timing a little bit. He was trying to cheat the tempo. Yeah, to Rama's credit, he landed the bubble. Got the kill, but it's not a big deal because he's still going to get back to top lane like almost at the same timer, and he's still going to have his ult back. I guess it's going to be a little behind the Dragon timer. So that kill doesn't mean a whole lot. And EG still have the map control to get this Herald. I guess EG are taking the Herald and they're saying potentially we lose the Dragon off this, I guess. Yeah, so EG have decided maybe they were thinking they intended to set up for the Dragon there. But then once Huni got picked, they said, no, we'll just take Herald and put Huni bot instead. His ult cooldown is a little longer than I thought. It is a pretty long cooldown. So it's not ready for this anyways, but the decision making between Rift Herald or Dragon and which is more valuable and stuff, statistically, if you look at them, they're very, very close in value in terms of how often they produce win. It's based on team comp. What does your team comp need? Does it need more gold earlier? Do you want to play with more tempo on the map and clear towers faster and that kind of thing? Or do you want to play for 5v5s and scale up and that kind of stuff? Then you want the Dragons. It's really, what does your team comp want? Rift Heralds and Dragons are not inherently better than one another. So that was actually quite balanced this year. It hasn't really substantially changed, I think. I know, I guess it is changing for next year, but I can't remember. What are the changes going on for Dragons for next year? There are, aren't there? The buffs have changed. I don't know, I can't remember. So giving up the second Dragon feels a little bit bad, but it's really the third and fourth ones. Like, if 100 Thieves can start to threaten a soul, now you're concerned about it. But the second one, not a huge deal. So Huni's wave is starting to push out here, which is a little dangerous because his team doesn't have pressure in other places. So you can see it looks like he kind of face-checked Tribrush there. The Renekton Italy tried to jump him, but he was fine. He just taunted out because I think he knew that was a moment of vulnerability for him while his team doesn't have anything to trade on the map. But he couldn't really prevent the wave from pushing out. So that was fine. Now he's backing off his wave again. He's got his ult. He might need to buy here. But he did just die recently, so he probably doesn't have much gold. But yeah, he's playing this very safely. Like, this is... If his team had a really big pressure point in one or both of the other lanes, then he can push this aggressively and say, sure, come after me, 2v1 me, even 3v1 me, and we'll just trade that, right? Like classic split pushing. But he knew his team didn't have that set up yet, so he just wandered through the jungle. Maybe he was checking for wards. Maybe he was looking for, a straggler, and then the Tahm Kench ult or the TF ult could come. And now he's just going to catch this wave. Like, he's not winning the 1v1 with Renekton, so he used that timer of Renekton pushing to go and check for something and be better positioned for anything emerging. And now he's back to catch this wave. Now, somebody's using his timer to go and walk up and see, is there a play for us in the mid lane? But there isn't. Zeyzal's just hovering bang. Okay, maybe now there is. Maybe he could have flashed on the Tahm Kench there. But EG defended it. Shen and TF ults come in. Huni goes in. I don't think he really... Did he land that taunt? Yeah. He landed that taunt on a couple of people there, including Ryoma. They blow up contracts. It's too early for Baron, too early for Dragon, so that's just a little bit of gold. And it's denying a 100 Thieves play attempt, so... I think that some days move into mid lane there was a textbook move, right? So they could predict it. And so they knew, look, we've got really good collapse tools with Tahm Kench and Shen. Let them come and try to collapse on us, bait a little bit, right? Like, let the Ashe walk up and say, hey, look how juicy I am, or let the Tahm Kench, they, normally go on the Tahm Kench first. And if you do that, then the Shen and TF ults come down and you just collapse and win that fight. So EG knew what was going on. They just played it out naturally. And again, Huni just did his part in that. So this is basically, it's been throughout this game so far, Huni weak siding. Maybe he could have gotten a little more. He could have outplayed something, whatever. But he's just basically done his job in this weak side role. He's fallen a little further behind than maybe I would have liked, but that's not super important as long as the rest of your team is doing what they need to do. We have to remember that the level 1 helped a lot for Svenskeren and for EG as a whole, because Svenskeren is the big carry in this comp. But this game so far is an example of Huni doesn't always have to play carries. Huni doesn't only play strong side. He doesn't only, have to have the team playing through him all the time. Titanic's second. I mean, it also gives wave clear, right? So now that Renekton's power spike, like, I think Renekton spiked a lot earlier, and now Shen can start to 1v1 the side lane on 2 items more reliably. Okay, there's a hook here. Huni had already been running. I think Titanic is fine here as a second item. So Huni gets the wave push to river. Dragon is almost up, so now they're just like... Now if Someday pushes this wave, we've got a lot of time before this wave hits here. So he walks up mid. They win a team fight on health bars, but no actual kills. Golden Glue has TP. Now he's going to use it. So this wave doesn't hit tower, which is fine. So now these minions are trading on each other. So it's an efficiency loss for both sides. So Huni walking really early off of that wave was a smart call. That was the right thing to do. Now the question is, can they win this team fight? Just keep Svenskeren. Oh, Golden Glue. Interesting. Golden Glue TF ults into their backline to try to pick them apart a little bit. Somebody goes on him. Oh, he cleansed. I think he used cleanse before the stun came in. So he's trying to Captain Jack this, but he didn't quite get it. But it's okay. Now he's still in a flank, but he's got to watch out for Blitz Hook. There's some itemization discussion in the chat. So I'm not an itemization expert. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It definitely, I think, indexing too hard into armor early would have left you vulnerable to the Nidalee dives. I think you want to go for health early. He went for the Bomby Cinder because that's, you know, health is useful against both physical and magic damage, of course. I don't know whether... I think the wave clear from the Sunfire Cape helps with not letting Renekton push on you too easily. I think Sunfire and Titanic makes sense for what this Shen's role is, especially in the mid game. But others might have opinions on that, and I don't really have the expertise to say that others are wrong if they say a different build is better. So, but I don't personally have a problem with the item build Huni has gone for. All right, contract steals. Another... Oh, Svenskeren flashes in for the Shen ult, or for the Shen taunt. Svenskeren dies, but they win the fight. But no Baron. If Svenskeren lived there, maybe there's a Baron. But I think that would still be a bit of a risk. It's pretty early. So that's a good win, even though they didn't get the dragon. Like, they should have gotten the dragon then. But the team fighting was good for EG. Now they do have to be very concerned because now it's 3 dragons they've given up. And the next one is going to be potentially a bit of an issue. But I think they should have, you know, EG just need to do a better job of setting this up, I think. Says flashed the hook on that. Huni was fixing bot wave knowing he was going to use his ult to join the fight anyways. Yeah, Svenskeren just needed to win that smite. But it's not the end of the world. Like, if that happens on the next one, it's a bigger problem, of course. But, like, in the previous game that I watched, I think it was game 1 against Cloud9, Huni played Shen. And the Shen ult deliveries were pretty bad that game. Both Svenskeren and Golden Glue had moments where, like, the Shen ult's coming in and they don't move forward with it to deliver Huni into a much better spot. And that was much better from Svenskeren, where he went forward so that Huni could be in a good position when he came through. So that was a good fight from Svenskeren. This has definitely been a better game from him overall than last game. Where did that gold cord land? So bot wave between Huni and Someday, pretty even. They're both kind of shifting up a little, but Someday is more interested in making sure it's pushed. Huni is more interested in moving first. I think Huni's on a crab here, yeah. So Huni gets the scuttle crab. Nice little bonus. He doesn't have ult. Looks like he wants to hold his TP. So nothing really happens there. Whatever. Both teams are like... So Baron is up and there's no dragon. And top outer is an objective 100 Thieves can play for. I think there was probably an opportunity for both the top laners to head back bot a lot earlier. But also, so like 100 Thieves can play for both top outer and mid outer. Okay, so Caitlyn QSS'd the gold card, okay. Now here comes the Shen ult. Caitlyn traps were there. Huni doesn't eat one though. I think EG feel like they are scaling better, with the Graves especially. And it's pretty hard for anyone on 100 Thieves to do anything about the Graves. So EG just want to like stall. I think they're just stalling out and trying to keep their outer towers up as long as possible. That also gives them better Baron control. And it'll help having your mid tower standing. If they can keep it alive all the way to the next dragon, that does help with their dragon setup also. A little bit. But it's a while for that. So now it's 90 seconds. Now they're starting to look at their setup. By that time passed quickly. So Shen will not have ult for this, I think. Maybe he will. No, I think it's going to be close, but he might not quite have his... Okay, that cooldown is reduced a lot. I don't know about this. You can let the top tower go here, and I don't think you really have a choice. Do you have to make a play here? I mean, you don't have to, of course, but... So, Bang is heading bot side. Svenskeren and Zeyzal are kind of with him. They're not really grouped up that closely. But the wave is dying, and the cannon is absorbing a lot. So they want to go on this, but they're just not there yet. Bang is pathing around very aggressively. This is a little bit of a throw to me. So Huni TPs as well for this. As he sees this is playing out, he backs off into the jungle, makes sure he's not going to get bubbled and lose his TP. Good stall by Someday. He lived a long time there. That was potentially a throw for EG, but it worked out. A little. Like a 3-2 and they get the tower. They didn't... I don't think they needed to force anything there. I don't think that was especially well played by either side. And now they gave up. Yeah, they gave up mid for that. And mid was more important. Now they're all resetting with 30 seconds on Dragon. They lost their mid tower. They have to fix top and mid. They have 30 seconds to fix top and mid while running out from base. But a couple of those kills came in late. So Roma has TP though. He can be there in time. And they're doing this replay with Dragon about to spawn. Come on. Trolling us here. Okay. So Ryoma's up. Oh, he switched away from TP. Maybe I saw that wrong. So EG are jumping this setup while Zoe's not there yet. Did you just miss that? Did he get flashed out? Or did he trade? I'm trying to see if Huni traded his flash here or not. So here he comes. There he is. He just missed it. He just misread the range. So they've only killed the support, and they've lost a lot of health for it. Ooh, that bubble missed. That was close. Svenskeren says, I can 1v4 this, and so he loses his flash and his ult for nothing. Now this dragon is really important. Contracts is going to get in there. Oh, almost. He flashes for it. So Svenskeren wins the smite that time, but I actually think EG played this scenario, this last like 2 minutes, pretty badly. Someday is doing everything he possibly can. All right, let's see. Huni gets a double taunt there, but like the carries are way too low to follow up well. Huni gets a couple of kills. Misses that taunt as well. Feels kind of bad. And Cody is just chunking everybody out happily. Yeah. So, yeah. Huni hasn't been the best possible in these fights. I think he's been kind of okay. Missing a couple of those taunt ranges doesn't feel good. Like this game doesn't really worry me for Huni, but it doesn't give me a ton of confidence overall. Did Cody need to flash out of the pit? I'm not sure. I think maybe he didn't, just given how low the health bars were on the EG carries. But, yeah. But I'm not doing this for Cody Sun review. Oh, Zeyzal steals the blue. That's cute. So for the next 3.5 minutes, I mean, for most of that, you've got Baron set up to think about. The next dragon is going to be just as important as this one was. I think both teams still have a chance to win this, but I like the EG comp a little better at this point. It should be, you know, as Shen is iteming up, and now he's got a Warden's Mail, he's got a stopwatch, like the 1v1 from Shen and Renekton is going better and better for Shen, I think, as this plays out. Shen and Graves have the same KP in this game so far. Oh, there's another nice proactive play. So here, I think it's a Tahm Kench ult in. Okay, TF, just a straight TF ult in. Tahm Kench carries in the Ashe. Huni goes in, gets the kill. Is this going to be a Baron? Because they picked off contract. And top wave is pushed deep because Huni had prepped that in advance. Yeah, so they got the second kill, although Puma's bought a lot of time that they could have been on Baron already. But I think the death timer is long enough in contracts that it didn't really make a difference either way. Yeah, Golden Glue's TP there probably wasn't. I think it was just like, no, we got to get this kill as fast as possible so that we can go on Baron. But, yeah. Not a huge deal either way. So the waves go all the way to the inners and mid and bot. But someday doesn't think he can finish the tower in time, I guess. He might have been able to, but I don't really blame him on that read. So at this point now, 5k, you should be able to get like another 1.5 or 2k off of this Baron. And more importantly, the Baron is going to give you the setup on the Dragon. It's going to make it really easy to shove these waves out and have full Dragon control. But 100 Thieves are looking for a pick. Oh, and they almost get it. There's no Shen ult because they just used it in that play. So Svenskaren's going really aggro without a Shen ult to back him up. And no Tahm Kench. And the more spread out the fight is, the more that favors 100 Thieves with the Zoe, with the Blitz. Renekton in Italy love to grab single targets. So Svenskaren is inting this a little, in my opinion. And he dies. He might be able to make it back. What does Huni do here? So he was in the process of pushing up bot. Now he comes up the river. Golden Glue goes into the back and... Oh, it doesn't quite get Kodi-san. That feels bad. Huni goes into 3. Buys a bunch of time. Okay, Zazel saves him. So Svenskaren and Golden Glue have both been pretty bad in this fight. Huni did what he could. Now they got 40 seconds to get back out here for the Dragon. But 100 Thieves are also resetting. T-Harf, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. I appreciate that. Or if you're Tharv, I'm happy with that also. 100 Thieves are back out first. They are rushing down this Ocean Soul. Contracts wins the smite. Svenskaren flashes for it. Now, can you ace them? And maybe not. That is the probe sound effect from StarCraft 1. Oops. Let's see this again. So because of Svenskaren going way too aggro into the river there, and then Golden Glue failing to kill Kodi-san when he went into the back line, that's what gives 100 Thieves this Ocean Soul. Plus, you know, the early lack of control over that. Like, on the very first Dragon, I think it was also EG had made a mistake as a team and then went for Herald instead. So, like, there are a few different things as a team that have allowed this Ocean Soul situation to happen. Did Huni... Yeah, Huni taunt flash onto Ryoma. Created that kill. Which kind of won the fight in the first place. I think 100 Thieves just wanted to get out here. I think that was their plan after getting the Ocean Soul. So they lose 2. Kopis is pointing out that 7 out of the 10 players in this game aren't going to be in LCS next split. It's a bit of an oof. Bang went to LCK, though, in fairness. So with that fight win, they get a mid-inner. Looks like they get, I think, bot inner as well. They're going to get this inhib. That's a little bit of a stretch, but they think they can get it. They've still got Baron buff, right? So it makes someday flash out. So Huni and Golden Glue went after Someday to make him flash. Are they going to get him? He's pretty strong. Okay. So 2.5 on Baron, 4.5 on Elder. So Baron is the next setup. So you want Huni in bot lane. You want Golden Glue in top lane. His TP's just about back, and his ult won't take long. And you want 3-man mid. You don't have a lot of vision if you're EG, so you got to be careful how you set this up. Okay. They have both sides pushed a little past river. This is a pretty awkward set of waves. It's going to take a bit of work to fix this. So they're leaning bot, where Huni has to expose himself a little bit to shove this. I'm not really sure. I guess Golden Glue wants to look for a pick if Someday reveals himself bot to catch Huni's wave. Because like the more classic would here would just be the straight 1-3-1. But Golden Glue is trying to say instead, like, aha, I'm actually not going to go on the top wave. I'm going to look for a kill and just try to grab this inhib instead, which makes the Baron setup that much easier if you have super minions in the bot lane. Now, he might have been seen there, and they should know by now since he hasn't showed on top wave yet. So Someday should definitely know something's up. And those waves, I think I think part of what prompted Golden Glue to go for this rather than the more classic 1-3-1 is that the waves in the side lanes and mid lane were in a really tough spot to coordinate. So just go for a side lane play instead on the other side of the map. So he's still down here. Now the Tom Kenchall comes in. They're just going to overload the bot side. This is really interesting. They just want to overload for an inhib. I don't know if they can get it here. And I don't know that hard forcing a 5v5 makes that much sense either. Like, Caitlyn is getting really strong here. What's going to happen? So Svenskeren and Bang are just carrying it anyways. Baron is up now. And so now, yeah. I mean, it worked out. I guess it's kind of fine. It was risky. I'm not sure that the risk reward was a great balance. Like, the more conservative play would have been once Golden Glue's hover bot didn't work out, then they could then just kind of call it off. Golden Glue resets in a bush, and now you start to sync up your waves for more classic split push and Baron set up with the Shen bot. That would have been more conservative, but this was definitely a little more aggressive, and it kind of worked out there. I also think like the inhib is going to be dead now during Elder spawn as well. So here's another 5v5. Renekton's almost here. So you're just going to wait. You want to wait this out. If you're EG, you want to wait this out for super minions to start hitting the base. And that's when you really Baron pressure this. So be careful here. Golden Glue is TPing bot to rush the super minions to the Nexus because he's got his ult anyways, so he can afford that. Oh, and now he just says, aha, you guys didn't all recall together. We'll just make them play in your mid group. Did they see Cody's son recalling? So the question is what info they had to make this play. Did they see him here? No. So they probably thought they were getting a 5v4 here. Wait, what's Svenskeren doing? He was in his base? What's he doing right here? Farming red buff? No. So potentially, EG were making an actual effective 4v4 here. Because Svenskeren wasn't there, and they had no reason to know that Cody's son wasn't there. But, again, it works out. So far. Huni is... Oh, he's pretty tanky, but he dies. Huni used Shen ult in this. Somewhere. Just from the backline onto Golden Glue. So Golden Glue is basically delivering him with the TF ult. And now Huni's all the way in there, but the rest of them are like, oh no, fight's over. And Huni's like, I'm going to taunt in deeper. I don't think they... Oh, they see Kate with the TF ult. Well, but he had to activate it in the first place in order to see her. And then he could decide whether to go in or not. So yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. I think Huni didn't need to go all the way in on that. Maybe he was thinking if he chunks contracts enough, then contracts has to go back to base. But I think EG as a whole, I think if I'm going to pick between what Huni did and what the rest of the team did, I do like what Huni did a little bit more there. I think they should have gone with him and tried to kill the jungler because that confirms an Elder more likely. If he misread his taunt length enough that it brought him over the wall when he didn't want to go over the wall, then that's just pretty bad. So now they're trying to rush the Elder. They know that contracts, was low, but now he's healed himself up. They're just like 50-50ing the Elder, and they don't get it. Wait, how do EG win this now? And they get aced. But it's only 3 up. Baron, maybe. I think EG have been rushing the game in certain instances here for sure. When they could have taken the more conservative approach, played the map a little more. So I think like the situations where Huni has died or things like that have been an equal mix of sometimes his own mistakes versus team mistakes of like what they're doing as a team, and he's just contributing to what the team is doing. Like he's been there for he's used proactive Shen ults, he's used some reactive ones, he's been there for everything the team is doing. I don't always like what EG is doing as a team for sure. But I think Huni is, contributing to that, and I don't think he's the one I don't think he's the one calling for those plays necessarily, but he might be. So now 100 Thieves is 5v5ing or 4v5ing in Nexus because they still have to have someday catching, but he has TP in case something really starts to happen. So if he clears this super minion, then does he want to TP? Are they going to try to end with Elder here? There's Elder gone by now. I think it's a little bit longer yet. Hard to see the buffs. Okay. Yeah, like I think the example of him dying in the jungle there trying to kill contracts is an example of Huni trying to call for like, no, we started this team fight, let's finish it. And the rest of the team was like, we got Blitzcrank, let's get out. But I liked Huni's call better. But it's a problem that they weren't on the same page for it. So here, does Huni make this engage? Ashe ult is down already. TF ult is down. Yeah, what happened to this health bar? Ryoma went in with Zoe ult, and I think Golden Glue landed a gold card on him. Now, Huni, okay, into the Zhonya's, but if he uses Zhonya's now, he's caught anyways. So Ryoma just kind of threw. Someday TPs. Huni misses a taunt on him, like the easiest taunt of his life. But he's just zone controlling. Can they end off this? No. Because they have to push all the way through the super minions. No. But they can get an inhib. Maybe 2. Probably 2. If they get a pick here. Oops. What did I do? What have I done? There we go. I don't think they could end there. I think that's like they'd have to get another pick before Sunday's back up. So they got the 2 inhibs. Now Baron is okay. Elder's back before Baron here, and there's like 45 seconds between them, so you don't necessarily have to trade. I still think EG is in a better position. I mean, the gold lead means nothing anymore, but I think EG compositionally. Like, Shen is doing a lot more than Renekton now. Especially since he's at full build, and Renekton is an item and a half away from that. I think if the Zoe was a lot stronger, then her poke would mean more, but her poke isn't really meaning much at this point. Plus, EG are just rushing every fight before the poke can do anything. So now side lanes are crashing without mid. It is hard to sync waves with super minions involved on both sides. But like, I would love to see EG get a clean map set up on a split push. Uh-oh, the TP from Ryoma, but Golden Glue should be fine. You can just walk out of this one. And now you gave away the top side push. 100 Thieves were chasing it there. I think they needed a much bigger exposure to go after, but they needed to try something, so. What did Bang have to QSS out of? Just curious. Oh, bubble. That's a nice bubble. But he has QSS, so it's fine. I think Someday was building for the 1v1. I think. Well, and also for like, no, he's building to be like, he wants to jump into the middle of a big group, land a Q, buy a ton of time. Gaussian, thank you very much for the kind words. I've been enjoying making all this content, and nice to see that people are enjoying and appreciating it. This is so slow. This hasn't been a great game. Alright, Elder's up. Someday has his ult, so he's pushing out the only lane that doesn't have super minions. Okay, this is unnecessary, but I see. Golden Glue TF ults into the base to help secure the third inhib. Now 100 Thieves have to decide between fighting Elder or defending inhib. They defend inhib and give up Elder. I think they should have fought for Elder. Because you only got a minute and a half on your other inhibs. And now, like, with Baron spawning 45 seconds later, if you lose Elder, you lose Baron. Like, the only thing you could try to do there if you're 100 Thieves is try to pick off both of these guys after Golden Glue TF ulted over there. But you just don't have the tools to get that kind of a pick. I think you need to, like, see the TF ult, try to 5v3 the Elder, win that, and get back in time to save your Nexus. And then go for Baron. Anyways, they didn't. I think they could have won Elder once Twisted Fate left. Then you're getting a 5v4 against the Shen ult. Alright, Cody Sunlands a big headshot on Golden Glue. Oh, that's an ult. Never mind. Through the shield even. The Shen ult. So Shen ult on the Golden Glue. Because just someday flash stuns him. Boom. Blitz ult. But the Shen ult saves him. He might have lived anyways. Huni is buying a ton of time. Zazel gets him out. Bang gets hooked. Has to cleanse flash out. Okay. So like EG are comped better for these fights now, and especially with Elder, like you definitely should win this fight, and they do. Now it should be over. So I think 100 Thieves made a bad team call there. I think Huni team fought okay. So there's not a ton to take away from this. I think this game either. It was I would lean slightly above average, but maybe like a fairly average weak side game from Huni. Like he was involved in everything his team wanted him to do. I think there were some mistakes in there, but his team fighting was also kind of average, like missing some taunts, but also landing some good ones. His level 1 taunt flash was a big deal. So credit to him on that one. And that's, there are some things like that where I would lean above average on Huni's weak side game that time. Better than a C+. I would say like a B. That's my leaning on it. Which, from Huni, is kind of like, yeah, okay. He can play a reasonable weak side game when he needs to. Like, I'm okay with that. All right, let's do this. Game 3. Had to go... I've been slowly and steadily raiding my kids' Halloween stash. So that's where I had to go. Got some Smarties. Wait. Most of you are probably American. So you guys call these rockets, don't you? Am I right on that? These guys? No, it's game 3. So here we go. You just don't have them at all. So they're like M&Ms, but a different product. You have different Smarties. So top lane is being picked last. 100 Thieves are holding counterpicker someday. Yeah, in Canada, rockets are these like, it's a little tube of like little hard candy discs that are all powdery. They're not Skittles. They're chocolate like M&Ms. So Hecarim. I've seen some Huni Hecarim in other games. And a Malphite. Lucy and Yumi. Fun. So what do we got overall? Lee Sin. Svenskeren on the graves again. So Lucy and Yumi should have a ton of lane prio, but you got a Pantheon into you, so you want to be covering that. I need a little more time to think this through before we rush. Hecarim probably gets early prio. He's on the wave a little late because he's not showing. So Svenskeren's pathing bot to top, which I find a little curious because you're probably banking on, I think both your lanes are going to have prio around, 3:15 around crab time. But I would say bot lane is a little more of a win condition for EG. Especially because shutting down the Malphite, like helping the Hecarim snowball into the Malphite, big deal. The Malphite's still going to be useful. Whereas shutting down the Ezreal Pantheon, when Pantheon wants to be like, wants to get out of his lane, he wants to kill people and stuff like that. So I would have preferred, like he had the opportunity to get a leash from the Hecarim there. He acted as if he was leashing anyways. I would have preferred a path that goes from top to bot and work through bot lane. But there might be other reasons why he went with this path. So he's really rushing this. So he goes, looks like red, Raptors, Wolves, blue, Raptor invade with the Zoe prio. He gets part of the camp, the bigger part of the camp. And Huni's prio is covering that a little bit, but not really, because he probably wouldn't have been able to get there to help regardless, so it doesn't really make a difference. But I think Huni's probably going to want to go for an early recall here. Okay, he can join for this. So there's Huni's prio generating a flash trade. Svenskeren flashed in for that. It's pretty close to Huni landing his E on contracts, I think. But yeah, the fact that EG are winning all 3 lanes is really beneficial. So EG had a lot of options there. Would Graves, Lucy, and Yuumi not win a 3v3? I guess Yumi's not. Yumi's more about harassing lane rather than actual committing. Regardless, this is kind of working out, and I'm not here to judge Svenskeren's pathing overall, only as it affects Huni. But Huni getting that push and then joining in the invade was, you know, doing the right thing and using his matchup the way it's intended for there. Trying to figure out what the lane state is here. So blue cannon has already died. So there's a slow push coming onto Huni's side while his Graves is bot. So that's kind of what he wants. So red has the cannon wave. And Huni should be able to... I'm assuming Huni wants to kind of pull this cannon wave into his tower, reset off of that, TP back. Now there's an all-in happening bot. Can Zazel get out? There he goes. Oh, did they get him? No, can't quite get the kill, but... Is there minion damage going? No, there's not. Here comes the TP from Ryoma, but it's just to keep people alive. Bang's throwing the thumbs up, saying that was a big win for us, because we pulled out your TP for nothing. After you ganked, you invested 4 people, and nobody died. So Huni is not... So Huni has the cannon wave top lane is crashing right around now. He's got 22 CS. Yeah, the blue wave is pretty big after this as well. Anyways, Huni is kind of catching his cannon wave. He got 7, 8, 10. So it looks like he farmed pretty much that entire wave, and now because he's trying to say, Malphite, you either need to TP or you need to lose a little bit here. Huni definitely cannot. Huni has nothing to freeze with here. He wants to shove and reset for himself. And also, denying CS off of Malphite is not the goal. Having control of the map is the goal. If you freeze, you're giving up map control in order to deny CS, in some cases, experience from your enemy laner. You don't care how much farm Malphite is getting here. You care a lot more about how much farm Hecarim is getting here. Also, freezing is more common in the early lane phase than it is later in the game. So it's kind of different. What map control you need early on in the game is super important, because that invade that Graves made to steal the Raptors there and then chase after the Lee Sin and came a little bit close to killing him and traded flashes. That all happened because Huni had his wave shoved up and was able to run out of the wave lane, 3-4 seconds ahead of the Malphite and join that fight. That's the kind of map control we're talking about, is your ability to step out of your lane into the enemy jungle and join up with a teammate before the other team can join up with theirs. So it's really subtle, narrow windows of map control. So Graves is bot. Huni is weak side right now. So he's catching this. If we really analyze the wave setup over the last 90 seconds or so, when he shoved and recalled and so on, he probably knew that this was going to turn into a slow push against him again here. And right now, Malphite, maybe he's got a TP timer off of this, but the overall rest of the map state says they can't contest Dragon. Contract is top side, so they know they've got nothing to do with Dragon here. So Huni's like, yeah, sure. Get yourself a prio window, crash this wave, step out in the river, whatever you want. there's absolutely nothing for you to teleport to, unless you can like teleport into bot lane, which they don't have a ward for it. But if they did, like, go for a play on the bot lane and try to fight there with your teleport. Great, Huni can match if needed, or the Graves can come and help if needed or whatever. Like, there's not really anything from the Malphite to be doing, so Huni doesn't mind giving up this window at all. And now the wave is reset at the time that they're actually on the dragon. So now Huni can actually be the one TPing and looking for a fight if 100 Thieves try to defend the dragon. So he's warning way down river. He says, okay, there's not actually a play. I'm not actually needed. We got the dragon now. He can go back top again. So far, Huni is managing his waves really nicely. And he did his reset without TP as well, so because of the way he had shoved before. This is pretty aggro. Going to be TPs here. We'll rewatch the setup on this. Bam. Got him. So a 3 for 2. So here after the dragon, Svenskaren's like, yeah, let's steal blue. Bang and Zeyzal should already be rotating here. Say, forget about... Like, I don't think they should be working quite so hard to crash this wave, because they're not crashing it anyways. Like, if Svenskaren's invading right here, Bang and Zeyzal need to already be around here. Just to say, we'll help you out just in case. Also, hey, they just stepped off the wave. They're probably coming for you. Contract's Q does nothing there because they already pulled the blue buff out of position. Otherwise, he would have been on the Graves lot earlier. Contracts isn't level 5 yet. That's a big deal for this fight. Or isn't level 6 yet. Yeah, that's exactly it. Svenskaren was acting as if he had a Shen ult for him there, but of course he doesn't. Both mid laners move around the same time, but LeBlanc can just get there a little faster. I think this blue contest was entirely unnecessary from EG, but in comes Huni TP's like a full second faster than Someday. They've already lost Svenskaren, but he and Golden Glue are in there. Get a couple quick kills. Someday has to ult out. So that worked out well for EG, and they're in a really big lead now. Dragon and 1,000 gold. But I think they should have just taken the dragon there and been happy with it. So Huni did a good job there. Like, the fact this fight happened has nothing to do with Huni, right? I don't think the fight should have happened, but once he saw, oh, this fight is happening, now what am I going to do about it? ETPs, I think, right here? Yeah. As soon, like, 100 Thieves have committed enough that he's like, aha. Now, either he can go into his E, he can go in with his ult, whatever. He's just mopping this thing up. He's pretty squishy at this point in the game. Didn't use his Ignite, according to this. This UI is horribly unreliable, but yeah, he didn't use his Ignite. I'm trying to think through what the win conditions of the 100 Thieves comp are. I don't really know. On the EG side, I think basically that type of a fight is actually good for their win conditions. Like, shove up bot, invade the jungle, get a Hecarim TP engage or just roaming engage. Poke with the Yuumi at Zoe a little bit. I don't know, both of these comps are a little weird. They're not super straightforward. Contracts has to ult to disengage that. Okay, so Huni was there supporting it. I'm trying to figure out the wave state here. I'm just jumping back into, okay. So the wave, so Someday has his lane shoved up. I assume, so EG either saw or guessed about the Pantheon and like 100 Thieves being on Herald in general here, so Huni is playing this really safe and standing back far. once Herald goes down here, and mid-prio, Realm has mid-prio, so he was leaning there, so EG couldn't fight there safely because it would have been a 4v3 at best. More likely a 4v2 for a little bit. But now they can push in, they take the crab, and Huni doesn't look like he's really losing anything here. So he was just making sure Svenskeren was backed up there. And the wave wasn't in a state where he was actually like giving up active tower shots on minions or anything. This should be nothing. You can see, like, again, EG have 3 lanes in good spots all at the same time. So they can go for that play and they're not going to lose anything on it. They didn't gain anything for it, but it's worth trying something. You had a little window there. And you got Huni a recall. And a recall is a resource in its own right. So is there an opportunity for somebody to freeze here? So his entire wave is gone in a moment. He's got a whole cannon wave coming in. So to freeze this, he needs to stand right here. And if he does freeze it, he doesn't have TP. It's just a... I'm sorry, neither of them has TP. Huni's resetting. He might have had an opportunity to freeze there. And you do want to deny some stuff off Hecarim. But Hecarim has to run back. Hecarim's fast to run back. There might have been an opportunity to freeze. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot with it. And he wants his own reset here. So you can't freeze and reset at the same time. Otherwise, once the other guy gets back, he just takes a tower plate or 2 off you while you're resetting. So he counter pushed because he wanted to go shop. And he got a pretty big shop off there. Huni is just much faster, and he got help from his jungler to push that out. So Huni had a big tempo lead, which is why he gets back and counter shoves this. But the alternative, if someday freezes there, is he doesn't get to buy at all. Huni does. Huni still hits the tower roughly the same at roughly the same time. Huni may have lost a wave of CS, but now someday is standing at his tower with a wave crashing into him with no items. So I don't think there's a freeze setup that makes sense for someday there. The knock-on effects it would have, and around now, if someday has now been catching this after, now he has to go back and shop with no TP, and he can't make it to the dragon at all. Right here, he's got enough time to shove this out and start walking to dragon. Or at least keep Huni pinned down and make sure it's a 4v4. I think he should be walking to dragon here. Not sure why Someday is so set on staying in lane. Now he's walking into river. I think this is a mistake by Someday. He should have been walking to dragon a long time ago. Like at least a whole wave ago. Probably 2. Realm is recalling with TP. Ezreal and Pantheon are moving up and joining the jungler. Now comes the TP, but it's into mid lane, so like now they've left themselves 4v3 in the river. They get picked off. Yeah, 100 Thieves set this whole thing up pretty badly. They walked into it hoping to catch somebody face checking and like handed the other enemy team an engage. Now Someday has to go back and catch this wave. Huni gets another free buy and EG get a dragon. Oh, no, Huni isn't buying. What's he walking for? He doesn't have a lot of gold to spend, which is why I'm a little surprised he was looking for the recall. He just wants the crab, I guess. So like Someday and Huni are consistently trading roam windows, but Someday's in the lead on that. He's more often pushing the wave up and then having a chance to step off. He's gotten one plate. Some days, I think, yeah, he's trying to prep for a Herald arrival here. But the Herald is kind of late. Now the wave's gone. Now you got to clear this wave before Herald can get there. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Can they get this whole tower? No. I think if they try to go for an actual dive setup there, Huni can just ult out before they actually start it. Oh boy. This contract's going to get out of this alive too. Get him. It was pretty aggro from Contracts. I'm a little surprised he got that kill, but not surprised that he died on the way out. And now Someday had to go in and try to help. Someday has to run through the tower to help this, doesn't he? I don't think he takes any shots, though. Oh. I think he might have taken one tower shot. Yeah. So that was, I think that was just that was just Contracts being too aggressive. But he had some map state for it. Like he had his top wave crashing. But he must have forgotten the Huni TP or whatever it was, or thought he can outplay and get out. Maybe Ryoma should have been there sooner. I'm not going to overanalyze that too much. But one of the consequences of that is look at the shove Huni is getting. He might finish this whole tower. Yeah, he should. Three minutes to Dragon. If Malphite had walked top here with the Pantheon, they might have been able to make a play on this. But they want to deploy Malphite to the bot lane to play around the next Herald, maybe? Not really sure. I don't think there's a clear reason to put Malphite bot there. With Dragon so far out. And actually, the Dragon wasn't so far out that you shouldn't have put Malphite top, because now it's 2 minutes. Now, like, the overall map setup you want as 100 Thieves is to have Malphite with his TP in the top lane and the rest of you setting up mid and bot so that you can get first move onto the Dragon. From here, with 2 minutes to go, Malphite has to... Like, I think he has enough time that he can recall and run back top and then have his TP in place, but it's going to have to happen pretty soon. Meanwhile, Huni has used his TP and doesn't have his, so he's going to want to, like, either catch this wave top and then run down in time, or just be mid and bot with them in general. And what's going on here? So Huni, yeah, so off of this, okay, it's in a replay here, so I didn't really see, but I guess Huni's coming from a reset here. He's got his Triforce. He's super strong right now. And he's going bot because it's very early for this too. I think he's going there to look for a play, but one didn't emerge. Because now he's heading back to the top side. So the Herald 2 is up, so that's why Malphite is bot. I wasn't sure what the spawn timer was on the second Herald. So that's why the Malphite's bot. It does make sense. Now, Huni just goes in, finds Poom off on his own, sets up the kill, and gets them the Herald. So Huni is basically winning them the game at this point. You're totally okay with Sven taking that kill, by the way. Like, the gold is very well spent on Graves. Now you got a minute and a half on Dragon, so now you're going to go into the setup I was talking about before, where Huni gets top lane in a good state and then runs down. But they're using the Herald right away to break mid. And get the charge off here as well. Now you should be looking to just back out safely and rotate around for Dragon control. I think, no, you should be backing off here. Just let the charge happen. You're not going to finish the tower. Svenskeren stands in a dangerous spot. dies. Huni is taking the tower because he's like, you guys do whatever you want there. They're not even stopping me on the tower. And EG are so far ahead right now. Like, Bang and Golden Glue can just back up and like, okay, you spent everything, and now what are you going to do? You're going to like hit us with a couple Ezreal Qs. Big deal. So good job by Golden Glue and Bang to clean that up after. Now they do get the tower, and meanwhile Huni has taken the top one as well. And Someday has achieved nothing in the bottom lane. Like, I think Someday should have been top a long time ago. I don't think 100 Thieves had the opportunity to really play for that Herald. And putting Someday bot lane showed that they wanted to play for the Herald. But I think they just should have said, no big deal, we're not going to work on it. We're just going to set up way in advance for the dragon. And if you give up this third dragon, now they're on soul point. Like, getting a Malphite TP engage on a dragon fight is worth a lot more than trying to get that second Herald. But now the game's over. And to be clear, on Someday going bottom lane there, that's not necessarily something that he decided. The team as a whole would decide on those lane deployments. So I don't know who is determining that for them. And, you know, it's a team effort on that too. Like, you all have to agree, okay, here's what our lane assignments are going to be because we're now playing for this objective. Therefore, we're going to set up, you know, here are our lane assignments. So whatever it's going to be. So now the dragon is up. Ryoma TP's out. Someday's already walking. So another option for Someday here is he could be shoving this because this tower's low and he has TP advantage. But he doesn't have any good TP wards, I think. See if we can notice anything. Yeah, not really. He doesn't really have any good TP wards, so I think that's probably one of the reasons that... But they could just... Like, he could TP on this just fine. Or even this guy. And just ult in from that angle. Like, ideally, he'd want to be in behind them. That would be better, but... Sven steals the dragon. And EG are going to wipe this fight, pretty sure. Huni doesn't have Hecarim ult. But big deal. Let's see this again. So Yuumi is on Svenskeren. That's the easiest steal. Just hit smite. Yeah, EG win this fight without Yuumi ult or Hecarim ult. Because they're just so far ahead. And to be clear, like, the last couple minutes and anything from here on shouldn't change your opinions very much of how everybody played in this game, because this game, with barring a major throw, this game has been over for a few minutes now, basically. So, you know, don't get carried away with interpreting what happens right now. For example, this. Because the game's kind of been decided already. That was just, you know, getting caught, but you've got no vision. Maybe you shouldn't go up that far. I don't know. I think trying to just, like, keep in mind what happened the past 20 minutes. I think Huni has pretty much done everything right. Unless I'm forgetting a mistake somewhere. He made a good TP play. He made some good, like, he kept his lane shoved and stepped out of river a little bit. So I don't really have any issues with... I can't remember any mistakes Huni made. I have the game muted because the caster audio distracts me. So... Once again, the game is over already, so this isn't a big deal, but I do want to see what happened. Did it even land a bubble? Ouch, that's a lot of burst. Let's just see the game end. It's going to take a little bit longer yet, but might be another 5 to 8 minutes, something like that. Oh, they're trying for something. Thieves doesn't want to just die without doing anything. Someday TPing here? No, he's already up. There he is. He's in that area. Little covered in the minimap. He's going to ult into the pit. Pantheon ult comes in. They secure the Baron. Someday gets CC'd. Can't do anything. EG could fight this, or they could just not. They could just casually kill the Pantheon. Yeah. We're done here. We'll just play it out. 100 Thieves, I think, are just like, well, we lose now, or we lose in 2 minutes, or we lose in 4 minutes. So what do you want to do? And the game state is never going to get better for them from this point out. So if the Pantheon ult did land on somebody and the Malphite ult comes in on top of it, and maybe they get a little lucky, like it's like a, I don't know, 5% play. But a 5% play is better than a 3% play 2 minutes from now. So I don't really have a problem with what they did there. And I think that's the case with a lot of judgments on certain aggressive players as well. Sorry, I'm just watching this with the Yuumi on top of them and a big Yuumi ult, and look how chunked they all are. Good players know that you can take the 20% play now, or, you know, since objectively a 20% play is a bad play, or you can wait and hope that you get another 20% play 2 minutes from now, a lot of the time, like depending on what the game state and the team comps are and all that kind of stuff. And so good players will go for that 20% play if they know that 2 minutes from now they're not going to get a better one. And then 4 out of 5 times it'll go wrong, and they'll kind of look bad unless you put it in the context of, well, it was the best chance they were going to get for a comeback. Huni is one of the players I think who will go for that. He'll make the play attempt. G2 as a team are very good at that. Like, we don't want to lose passively here. Let's try something. And since G2 were such good players, they could make those plays work. And that for a 20% for another team might have been a 30% for them, or whatever it was. They cheat a setup a little bit. They go kind of off the textbook setup and find something, and they make it work. And I think, that's something that players who are more playmakers and who are more aggressive are have more tendency to do that when they're losing, and it can make games snowball faster against them, which from a casual perspective can seem like they are just worse, but it actually means they're making the right tries and making the right play attempts. So taking away all of this, I think this was probably Huni's best game of the series. I think game 2 was kind of game 1 was a little above average. But these are like continuing to play in at the level I'm seeing from Huni, where the issues with EG were typically team calls that were not good calls, or team calls where they aren't following the same call. Haven't really seen big draft issues from the games, in my opinion, from the games that I've been watching on stream, but in some of the other ones, they had some pretty bad comps to work with. Very awkward, lack of clear win conditions. So, like, the issues with EG were usually not Huni and team synergy kind of stuff, or communications. And Huni, for his own part, was usually playing things out the way he should. Definitely makes mistakes here and there. He had some really bad taunts on Shen, but also some good ones. What we were watching yesterday, he had some pretty big positional mistakes, or like greeting for control ward clears where he got picked off, stuff like that. So, like, he's not some superstar player at this point, but he does the right things in the right order most of the time. And in a team that works with him a lot better, I think very consistently we're seeing the right team play around him is going to allow him to look a lot better. You also have to then say, you go back to the dig games, you go back to his play in academy, and you say, oh, what if we see that, right? But I don't think that's really the thing that we have to be worrying about at the moment. I think based on these late 2020 EG games, Huni has been the best player on the team. So, which again, like, that might put him in like a fringe A tier kind of a player, or maybe you want to feel like he's high B tier, but he's not some kind of like dirty inter for sure. Which I think there's been a big swing of public opinion against him because of his spring and because of the deal he got, and at the start of 2020 and how poorly he delivered on that deal and stuff like that. But if you put all that context aside and just look at how he actually played once he was established on EG in a team environment, I think you can feel reasonably positive about him personally.